All right. Where do we begin? Just another Celtics loss, right? I guess we're getting used to these. Ugh. Celtics take an L to the Thunder, 105-104. Another, I see it hard in the chat already. Another embarrassing loss. Like, I know this team, we love them more than last year. We love the guys on this team more than last year. Hell, they are a better team than last year's team. But they've had some bad losses and some losses that are worse than last year. We're not going down that road, though. We're not comparing this team to last year's in any way, but I mean, it'd be ignorant to ignore how bad these losses are. You have a lead against the Thunder's team, you win. You should be able to win. Lead against the Nets, you should be able to win. You should be able to beat Brooklyn. You kind of blew it against the Rockets, too. What is this, 4 straight losses at home for the Celts, too? Ugh. It's crazy. This t-shirt right now, the Jason Tatum problem t-shirt, I don't know why I'm wearing it tonight. I mean, this should just say Celtics are the problem right now. Oh, it's crazy. I mean, these are games like flashback, what, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago? You have the Thunder coming in and you're like, oh, here we go, another dub. You have the Nets coming in, so another dub. It's like they are in a rut and a half, and I already see it in the chat right now, like, gotta stay healthy, gotta stay healthy. I mean, even a Jaylen Brownless Celtics team, I still think needs to win this game. You know what I mean? Like, them being healthy puts them over the top. We don't need to be fully healthy to beat the Nets, the Jazz, the Thunder. Like, I don't want to use that as an excuse. Like, yeah, a healthy team if we take a loss to the Lakers, the Clippers, the Rockets, but these Nets losses, this Thunder loss, like that isn't a gotta stay healthy, guys, we gotta do it. No, that is a Kemba's lost the ball in 2 of those games I mentioned, Nets and tonight against the Thunder, like losing the ball right at the end. No, that's not an injury thing. Like Kemba Walker didn't lose the ball at the end because Jaylen Brown was out. You know what I mean? So it's annoying losses, embarrassing losses, no excuse losses. You know what I mean? And I'll say this, still early on in the stream, like, not really worried about the Celtics team. I still love them. I think they're, trending upwards, not like right now. Don't get me wrong. But overall, they have a really young team. They're trending upwards. They're going to be great. But these type of losses can't be ignored. Kemba Walker losing the ball and now 2 memorable, terrible losses, that can't be ignored. Let's see, let's get to some of your comments here. A lot of them already. This is going to be a tough night to keep up with the comments, I can already tell. The one thing I'll say, that Nets game, when they were blowing out the Nets, I was like, oh boy, what a vanilla game. It's going to be great to jump on the stream and talk about nothing. Loss. I had the same thought tonight watching that Thunder game. I was like, oh, I wonder what we're going to talk about on the stream tonight. So, maybe it's my fault. Maybe I'm the problem here. Maybe Ev's the problem. He starts thinking about how this is a vanilla game, and in my mind, I just jinx them, and then they shit themselves. Let's get to some comments here. Nate says we need to stay healthy. I already kind of addressed it. Like, this isn't the type of game that you need to stay healthy for. You can win this game without Jaylen Brown. But overall, you're right. Greg says Kemba hasn't done anything recently, and Tatum's doing what he was doing. And Tatum. I'm rattled. Greg says, let's restart that. Just rewind. Kemba hasn't done anything recently, and Tatum isn't doing what he was doing a couple games ago. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily put the burden on Tatum either. Yeah, he gave us this, like, absolute superstar stretch, but I'm not going to say, like, oh, we need to expect 30 from Tatum. What we can say is Kemba maybe kick it into gear now. I get it. You were injured. You had the knee drained or whatever, but you played in the All-Star game. Apparently, the knee injury wasn't a big deal, and that's my biggest, or one of my biggest pet peeves in sports when athletes put out there that, no, this knee injury isn't a big deal. Like, it's not a big deal that I had my knee drained. It's not an injury. It's not a concern. If you want to tell us it's not a concern, then there should be no dip in play. There should be no 4 of 14 from the field, 14 points total as the team's superstar, and then losing the ball at the end of the game. You know what I mean? And I'm realizing it's tough to, like, crap on this team, too. So that's a good sign, I guess, that, last year we jump on these streams and be like, oh, this team. This year, a little bit different. But we got to do it. Keep smashing the hearts, guys. We have a lot of hearts going on right now. I'm pretty sure if you smash the hearts, it makes the loss easier to get over. That's just what I've heard. Beantown C says, legit, how do they manage to lose that? All they had to do was make simple plays like rebound. Yeah, that's why I don't want to use injuries as an excuse here. The injuries part of it, way bigger picture. It's true. Like, let's stay healthy if we want to make a run at a championship. A run at a championship doesn't totally involve losing to the Nets, losing to the Jazz, losing to the Thunder now. Like, no, you should be able to beat those teams if you are at that let's make a run for the championship sort of mode. So we'll see. Bartleby says, what a shame to just give that game away. And that's what these losses are. That's why they're embarrassing, because you're giving losses away. Like, yeah, Thunder made some big shots. Schroeder, Chris Paul. But after that, it's like Gallinari had an okay game. It's like they didn't really do too much. They didn't have an absolute, like, fuel to the fire off the bench. I mean, yes, they had Schroeder, but I'm talking about, like, the Lakers had, combined like 50 points off the bench. The Clippers that game had a monster bench night too. And I'm just using the bench as an example here. I'm saying the Thunder didn't have like an explosive, like, oh, can't win. They just played too well. No, that was a winnable game. Wongy says Kemba is going to be heavily judged on his playoff performance. I think he'll be fine. I guess in the beginning of the stream, like I said, like I'm still rooting for this team in terms of, like, I'm not jumping ship, nor should any of you guys. Like, this is another slump. The Celtics had one a little while ago. Slumps, you come out of slumps. And guess what? Like, if you deny that this isn't a slump, or you deny that it is a slump, that's just wrong, because this team is not that bad. Injuries, no injuries, whatever. Brad Stevens making questionable decisions, whatever. Like, no, that's a slump. Like, that Nets loss, slump. Utah, slump. This game, slump. Like, it's not the depiction of what this team is. So don't get that, like, mixed up in there. No, this is a big old slump. We can't ignore the slump. The slump freaking sucks, but it's a slump. It's not, oh, wow, this is the real Celtics, which is what the Celtics Twitter, or NBA Twitter, Celtics haters is going to say. I told you earlier on, this is what the team was going to be. No, this is a slump. It's a stretch of games which they absolutely suck, but it's not what this team is. I just want to make that clear. Like, because we'll get on here, all the comments negative, what I'm saying, bitching and moaning, but that's not like what this team is. This team's better, far better than what they've shown, and I would trust the other 50 games outside of the bad losses that we've seen over some of these bad losses that just seem to be more memorable and maybe pulling some recency bias strings. But all that being said, that was a shitty loss. Curb says, what have I done to myself? I literally just turned on the last 5 minutes. I literally just turned on the, so you got to see all the good stuff. Bartleby says, no discipline tonight. Luz says, we have no bench. We'll talk about that in the stream, I'm sure. I'm just trying to catch up on the comments. I'm trying to go through here. Trevor saying he was doubled. I'm assuming you're talking about Kemba. Yeah, but Kemba, like, guess what? He's double teamed. That doesn't just mean, oh, shit, double teamed. Here you go. You know what I mean? Like, beat the double team. You're Kemba Walker. Andrew Photo said, think we should sign IT? Yeah. Hell yeah. I would love IT back to Boston. Give me Isaiah Thomas. And, I mean, we'll just dig into it right now. You're trying to tell me that he wouldn't fit. Not you, not any of you guys. But anyone saying, oh, he wouldn't fit. He wouldn't vibe with this team. What do you mean? Like, what? That's the worst argument. Like, oh, no, he's not going to be the same player he was. No kidding. But he's better than Brad Stinky Maker. He's better than, bringing in Javonte Green and probably minus the good game Semi's had lately. But what we're actually going to get from Semi Ojeleye, like, Isaiah Thomas would be a better option than anything you have off the bench. And then he also guarantees you that he's probably going to have 2 or 3 games that he just goes off and takes over for 20 plus off the bench. Like, it's a no-brainer to me to bring back Isaiah Thomas. And we talked about it on a show we did on the site, GuyBostonSports.com. Go check it out. Me, KJ, and Sean did a cool video chat. We all got together yesterday. Not video chat, a video in person. And we discussed it too. And my thing is, Isaiah Thomas coming here, he would have his own little platoon. Like, he would be able to run that bench. And who's going to be like, Isaiah, you're not passing to Semi a lot. Oh, you're not deferring to Grant Williams enough on offense. Like, no, Isaiah Thomas would be able to come in here and paint whatever masterpiece he wants. And guess what? If he stinks, it's what you have now. It's a no-risk situation for me. I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more of him, but let's get into more of the bench. Greg says, we need Jamal Crawford. He reacted to the Perk tweet joining the Celtics, and seems like he would sign. He's another exactly in the same boat in terms of Isaiah Thomas. And I know, Greg, I think you're one of them too. You want him over Isaiah. I'm not even using Isaiah Thomas as like the best case scenario. I'm just saying as an example, like Isaiah Thomas, Jamal Crawford, anybody you name that's available that they could get, why wouldn't you? And guys like Isaiah and Jamal Crawford are probably like the creme of the creme in this sort of situation because they literally can be a one-man offensive wrecking crew out there. Jamal Crawford especially. We know he can do it. We know he can do it off the bench. He's got to do something because, like you said, Isaiah's liked tweets about coming back to Boston. He's liked plenty of my tweets. By plenty, I mean 2 tweets about I miss Isaiah. So you know he loved it here. He's done it recently. And then Jamal Crawford quote tweeted Perk with that like emoji of let's think about it or something like that. So there's got to be interest at least. These guys don't have jobs right now. Like, why wouldn't you come play for one of, if not probably the most historic franchise? Curb says just as crappy as the Marcus Smart foul. Yeah, see, there was misses down the end, and that's kind of like I guess I'll sum it all up. These missed plays at the end, the stupid plays, Marcus Smart foul, the Kemba Walker losing the ball, the 2 missed layups, Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum missing layups. That has nothing to do with the Jaylen Brown injury. That has nothing to do with injuries. That has nothing to do with Brad Stevens coaching. That was a winnable game, and they smoked a couple bunnies. Speaking of that, shout out to Gordon Hayward. Glad you had a boy. Gordon Hayward was not the issue tonight. He missed his first 5 first shots and then just went off after that. Let's see. Trevor saying stop blaming Kemba. There's no one that is like to blame here. Like this is just another shitty game. So if you guys think I'm blaming Kemba, it's only because he has the 2 pinpoint plays, like I said, that missed layup and the lost ball. Which, like, that's, like, how you lost the game there. You know what I mean? But you kind of... Or I'll say this. This might not make sense, but I'm going to go for it. Those are the 2 plays, or especially when he lost the ball, that allowed OKC to win the game definitively. But the Celtics lost that game a long time before that with just letting them back into it. Does that make sense? That's some psychological stuff. Kylan says IDK numbers, but we suck at rebounding. We never box out, and we always give second chance points. Yeah, and I hope that's part of the slump. I don't know the numbers either, but when I've looked into it and I've done a quick hitter version of the podcast on it, they actually are better than you think in terms of rebounding, in terms of offensive rebounds, in terms of blocks, in terms of points in the paint, which is kind of what you're getting at here, like the big man talk. So I'm not sure the exact numbers right now either, but I think a bench score is far more important than any sort of big, especially if Robert Williams gets going. Like maybe he can be that big man we're looking for. Trevor saying he was double teamed. Someone should have helped him. Trev, I can't disagree that he was double teamed, but that is like you don't expect to. Someone passes you the ball, there should not be someone to run in the backcourt to help Kemba Walker in that instance. Kemba Walker is a superstar point guard in this league. He needs to get that ball over half court. So again, I'm not blaming Kemba for the loss, but just because he was double teamed doesn't mean the best player on the court gives up the ball. You know what I mean? Like it's way too much of a cop out to say Kemba was doubled, no one could help. No, they inbounded the ball. He ran backwards trying to be smarter than the defense. Then when he spun back, he was double teamed. It's his fault. He should not be going that way. He shouldn't be running that fast or trying to push the ball, one, the wrong way, but also moving too fast in a time like that. No. When's the last time you saw someone do that successfully or even try and do it? He tried to outsmart Chris Paul, take him one way, spin back the other, and good play by Schroeder to be there. But I'm not faulting the rest of the team on the court for not, like, coming up and helping. Do you think Daniel Tice was standing there at the other foul line being like, oh, they inbounded the ball to Kemba, let me go help him just in case he gets double teamed? No. Kemba Walker's a big boy. He's a really good point guard. He should be able to handle that himself. He didn't. So it's easy in retrospect to say, oh, someone should have helped him because, yeah, maybe. But, I mean, when he turned, he lost the ball like that. It was not going to matter. It was not going to matter. And you watch that play back. He chose to go that way, you know? That was his decision. So I don't feel for Kemba on that play at all. At all. Nate says, or let's see, I missed one here. HJ says, why not blame someone other than Gordon Hayward? Nate says his shooting splits have been pretty bad in the past 15, 20 games or so. Maybe you're talking Kemba. I don't know. I've lost track of these. Should I just skip ahead? Let me get to just some more of the recent comments because I hate doing this to you guys. You guys drop comments. I'm trying to respond to them, and I go on stupid rants and get bogged down with or not bogged down, just clogged up. All right, here we go. We'll catch up here. Andrew says IT would not only add to the chemistry, but he'd be a solid player that brings life to the team, in my opinion. That's the thing, too. Like, forget how he could be on the court. Imagine Isaiah Thomas coming back to Boston, what that would do for, like, the stadium and what players can feed off of. So take playing out of it. I'm confident in his play, but if you guys have been, jumping in these streams and following my journey along for a while, I'm overly Isaiah Thomas biased. Like, you could say Isaiah Thomas run for president. I'd be like, yeah, he'd win. And yeah, he'd be good at it. So I don't want to get too fanboy over here, but just the vibe of him coming back, be like, yeah, like bring it. And if you're telling me TD Garden wouldn't be rocking and players wouldn't be feeding off that, whew. Greg says, I love Lance Stevenson too. He can still play off the bench in this league. That's a good name. Actually, I haven't heard that name too much. It's not a bad point. That's the thing. I don't necessarily need now, he can do this, but you don't need that sort of takeover guy. You just need a guy that can be a go-to guy. You don't need a go-to guy. Lance Stevenson's probably not like a create my own shot crazy like Jamal Crawford, or even Isaiah Thomas is probably more of like a instant offense type guy. But Lance Stevenson, we know he can score. He's played good defense in the past. I don't know if he's still kicking around like that. But any name. Like, the funny thing is, you guys can drop any of these names, right? You could drop any of these names, and I'd be like, oh, yeah, why not? Because you're playing Shemi Ojeleye, Javonte Green, Brad Stinky Maker. Like, that's why any of these names. You could probably say, put Ev Singleton in there, and I'd be like, yeah, it's a good decision. Maybe I'm a little biased. I don't know if you guys saw my basketball video I dropped today, but I might be able to help the Celtics bench. Bartleby says, hey, Danny, there's no chemistry with this bench. I must have missed. Oh, Danny Ainge. I was going to say I must have missed Danny's comment. All right. Trevor says the Celtics bench scored 17 and the OKC bench scored 41. I mean, yes. There you go. You couldn't be more spot on there. And well, like I said too, it's not even like I'm like, oh, the OKC bench went off, right? Like, yeah, 41 points is a lot from a bench, but I think what the bigger point here is that the Celtics bench stunk. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to pump air in the tires of OKC's bench. It's more of a, let's see how little air is in the tire of the Celtics bench, because, I don't know. I mean, you have one guy go for near 30 like Schroeder did, or Schroeder. I feel like he changes his name all the time. Then that like 41, to your point, Trevor, doesn't seem like it's that much, right? But the big point here is that discrepancy, that almost, 25-point discrepancy? Like, that's a big deal. You can't be outscored in the bench like that. You guys are smashing the hearts right now. Please keep smashing the hearts. It helps the stream go a long way. I hate to pander for hearts like that, but I'm pandering the hell out of this. Yeah, losses like this, something. It's like a little drug addiction or something. We lost the Souths game. I'm feeling shitty. I see hearts. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's fight another day. Greg says, would it be crazy if I were to take a Jeremy Lin as the backup point guard, give him a shot? No. I mean, no. Like, give me anybody. Give me anybody. Put anybody on this floor. I actually think Jeremy Lin is really good. I mean, I don't know if he's, I know he had the bad injury last year, and then I could be wrong that he had, that something else happened to him. I haven't kept up. Apologies for, taking away from the stream here, but I have not kept up on my Jeremy Lin knowledge as of late. But yeah, if he's healthy, give me Jeremy Lin over Brad Stinky Maker. Greg, was it Greg that came up with Brad Stinky Maker? Andrew says Thomas's jersey sales in Boston are incredibly high and hasn't played for us in 3 years. I didn't know that. Nate says, do you have a YouTube channel? Not. Yes. Guy Boss, just search Guy Boston Sports on YouTube. We're starting to build to that. We're starting to put to it more. And I've been thinking about putting these after the fact on YouTube. I used to do it in the past. Done a couple, but like with all the social medias, I've just had such a, I don't know, to be honest, spread myself too thin to some degree. So we're trying to build that YouTube as a site, Guy Boston Sports. Just search that on YouTube. Go subscribe. We are going to be putting more and more content out there, and I want to do some more like video stuff. Like we played some ball yesterday. I tore the Guy Boston Sports staff up. They had no chance. But yeah, we're gonna get more content on the YouTube channel. Trevor says, shit, I'll take Crawford and IT. Yeah, I think you're with me, Trevor. Like, you take anybody. We take anybody. Kylan says, who needs to get waived first? I don't want to say it, but my boy Vinny Poirier, I feel like he's the one that makes the most sense. Oh, Greg said stink-ass bench. That's what it was. Someone said stink. I think I'm an idiot. I'm pretty sure I said Brad Stinky Maker, and you said stink-ass bench. Celtics play says Brad's got to wisen up. Yeah, I mean, you could be talking about either Brad. I think Brad Stevens has some questionable calls down the end. I feel like he just forgets he has timeouts, and he just doesn't use them during runs. And then also Brad Wanamaker's got to wise up, as in, like, maybe he should just pack his bags and just leave on his own volition. Wongy says, in big games this season, Brad uses limited rotations. I assume that's his plan for the playoffs. Yeah, and Wong, you probably know this, and anyone else that's been kicking it for a while here. Like, I've said that's the get. Like, when you have big games, you need to tighten the rotation. The one thing here is that I feel like it's been pretty tough for him to do that because the rotation has been tightening up without him doing anything. Hence, like, because of all these injuries. You know what I mean? So it's tough for him to be like, oh yeah, I'm shrinking the rotation, or take credit for shrinking the rotation when he's been forced to. So I'd love to know that that's Brad's plan, but if we get a healthy team, is he going to go back to being like, oh, let's play everybody and make everybody get some minutes? Let's see. Celtics is responding to Wong. He's saying, I don't see Brad Wanamaker. I'm sorry. I'd rather go out with our eight other guys. I don't need, like, a healthy Celtics team, and then you go Smart. It's actually tough. Smart, Williams, Romy. Like, it's tough. Like, it's even tough to build that 8-man rotation, but that's not a good thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's tough to even build that 8-man rotation because you don't even have a guy like Beyond Smart that you're like, yeah, get him in there. It stinks. Greg says, I think he would be a good 10 to 12 man, and he is. Like, I wouldn't think about this. I didn't have a problem with Brad Wanamaker last year when he was that 8 to 12 man. The fact that Brad Wanamaker is the true backup point guard, plays a lot, is starting to get thinking that he's should be out there doing some stuff. That's the issue. I don't have a problem with Brad Wanamaker, the basketball player. I have a problem with Brad Wanamaker playing this much as a basketball player. If he wants to be who he is and maybe play 6 minutes a night, get in there when someone needs a break or they need a bigger point guard, a nice, tough, strong point guard, and play like a few minutes a night, yes, sign me up, Brad Wanamaker. He's not going to make that many mistakes in that short of time. I guess he's doing a pretty good job himself arguing that lately. But no, it's like, I don't mind Brad Wanamaker on this team. I don't want Brad Wanamaker as a go-to, reliable part of this rotation. Who do you think will get more minutes come the playoffs, Cantor or Rob Williams? I would say that they want Rob Williams getting those minutes. Will that happen? I don't know. Like, I know Cantor's been kind of cold, right? Like, we've kind of fallen off him, but just a few weeks ago, we're like talking about how Cantor means a lot to this team. He's great when he's in there. He gets boards. Like, Cantor's got some game-changing potential, and we haven't seen that from Rob Williams yet. Who would I rather, too? I guess I can take that question there. Who would I rather? Cantor or Rob Williams? 100% Rob Williams. I'd love Rob Williams to get closer to his peak or his goodness with the team. Great vocab, Ev. His peak here with the team as soon as possible. Like, if Rob Williams works out, like, he would be unreal. But let's not forget, and I'm seeing Greg kind of agree with me here, like, let's not forget that Cantor has been a game changer this year. I know it's hard to think that as of late. It's hard to agree with that, but like, Cantor has overall had an amazingly positive season for the Celtics. People shit on his defense. Like, he's not the best defender, sure. But Cantor gets in there, and you can tell quickly. The one thing I'll say, and take this for what it's worth, you can tell if Cantor's going to be a game changer pretty quickly. Either he gets in there and he's, like, irrelevant, or he gets in there and he's going off. So I feel like maybe that's, like, a superpower of his. Like, Brad throws him in there, and he's like, all right, Cantor, you going to suck tonight? You're going to be good. All right, you're going to suck, come out. But at least you know. Like, tell me I'm wrong. You can tell when Cantor is going to, like, just be nothing. Like, you see it. He gets in there. He's not grinding. He's not getting any boards. He's not, like, seemingly the ball's not finding him. You can tell. But there's going to be games that come where he is an absolute game changer, like that game against the Lakers that they won. Greg says if Cantor is on in one game and he gets going, he's automatically a 10-10 guy. He's almost automatically like a 10-15 guy. Like, when Cantor's on, 10 rebounds is like nothing. Like, he shits a 10-rebound game for breakfast. That's definitely not a saying. All right, guys, smash the hearts. A couple more comments here, then we're going to close up shop for the night. Another Celtics loss. Another beautiful Celtics loss. I feel pretty cool wearing a t-shirt that I would have loved to promote to you guys, but I'm not even going to do it. Unless you do believe in Tatum. Unless you do want to support me. The problem t-shirts. But I'm not plugging them. I'm not promoting them, but maybe pick one up. And another thing on Cantor too. It's like, who are you gonna go to? A guy like Rob Williams who still has time, or a guy that you have a window with like, why did you get in as Cantor, right? That's kind of my point. You went out and signed him to do nothing? No, like I think they'd ride with him in the playoffs because one, he loves Boston, and two, like you don't need to force Rob Williams. So I don't know. Augustin saying Semi is taking shots he usually missed because of his last 2 games. That is what I do not want to happen. Now, all credit to Aaron Baines, right? But what drove me nuts about Aaron Baines, and I say all credit because he just went off a couple nights ago. When Aaron Baines made like 1-3 last year, all of a sudden he was Reggie Miller out there and thought like, when I'm open, I can shoot. I do not want that happening to Semi Ojeleye. Like, if Semi Ojeleye off of a couple good games is like, here we go, hit my prime, I'm about to take a bunch of shots. No. Sit your ass down. I do think that he's kind of showing us that he's worth playing. Like I know I keep lumping him into this bench unit, but he's been all right. Like I don't really have any gripes with Semi as of late. It's more of a Brad Wanamaker and the rest of the bench sort of scheme here. You know what I mean? Semi Ojeleye is almost proven valuable just as of late. Franklin says, is Brad the problem? I think we have to look at everyone. Brad Stevens, I hope you're saying. I wouldn't say the problem, but I think, and I said it last year, like, I feel Brad Stevens does his thing and doesn't feel any pressure, and it's all for the best. I think he needs to feel a little heat from the fans. Like, I have a feeling he has no idea that we're all like, do you know timeouts exist? And to be honest, you could be like, oh, well, he knows better than you, but no, Brad Stevens has timeout issues. Like, he doesn't use timeouts when he should, and I get it. He's always banking them up and saving them for later, right? Fine, it's a strategy, but there are times when other teams go on like 10-0 runs, and the Celtics team on the court has already taken a mental timeout. Like, you can't just let them keep going when they've already checked out. So, yeah, I wouldn't say blame or I guess I did use the word like fire under his ass. No, it's not that severe yet, but everyone needs to be looked at as, okay, this is a slump, we need to turn it around. But I'm all right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tough loss again. At least we have the stream to come on and vent to. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you are following me on Twitter and tuning into these. And if you want to be a super fan, like some of the flames that we have in here, the flames next to the name, make sure you're following me on Periscope. And then all you got to do is download Periscope and follow me, and then you can still join exactly how you joined here. So shout out to you guys. We will be back in the next stream. Go Celtics. I'm going to say it. I don't want to say it because I'm not feeling too sharp right now, but this team is legit.